The sun was melting into the horizon, casting golden streaks across a quiet country road, when 10-year-old Maya Johnson stumbled upon a sleek, red Shelby Mustang stranded on the side. A sharply dressed man was pacing frantically, swearing into his phone. Completely unaware that the solution to his crisis was standing right in front of him, a little girl with dusty hands, bright braids, and a spark in her eyes that no luxury, no money, and no frantic meeting could ever teach. And then, as she reached into her backpack for her tools, the shimmer of a single emerald ring caught his eye, a ring he thought he'd lost forever. A piece of a past he never imagined would return to him in the most unexpected way. What happened next would change both their lives forever. The late afternoon sun turned the cracked country road into a shimmering gold haze as 10-year-old Maya Johnson walked home from school. Her worn sneakers scuffed the pavement, and colorful braids bounced against the oversized mid-t-shirt she practically lived in. Then she saw it. A bright red Shelby GT500 Mustang parked on the shoulder, hood up like it was gasping for air. Beside it, a sharply dressed man paced in tight circles, muttering angrily into his phone. "For 2 hours I've been standing here. I don't care what the tow costs, I have a meeting with the governor in less than 3 hours." His voice cut through the air like glass, and he slammed his phone shut, swearing under his breath. Maya hesitated. Her aunt always warned her to avoid strangers, especially rich-looking ones who seemed out of place in their quiet neighborhood. But something about his panic made her stop. And besides, she had tools. She adjusted the weight of her backpack, had always carried books and the small mechanic's kit her uncle insisted she bring. "Engines don't care how old you are," he always said. "They only care if you understand them." Taking a deep breath, Maya called out, "Sir, do you need help with your car?" The man froze. His irritation melted into disbelief as he took in the tiny girl standing there, hands dusty from school, face bright with curiosity. "That's very kind, sweetheart," he said politely but with a hint of doubt. "But this is a high-performance vehicle. I need a real mechanic." Maya shrugged. "My uncle's a mechanic. He taught me everything he knows. I can at least look at it." Before he could protest, she stepped closer, dropped her backpack, and opened the hood with surprising confidence. Beside it, pacing in tight, frustrated circles, was a sharply dressed white man whose suit looked far too expensive for these quiet outskirts where farms outnumbered people and most families, like Maya's, lived paycheck to paycheck. He barked into his phone, voice sharp enough to cut glass. "For 2 hours I've been standing here. I don't care what your tow service costs, I have a meeting with the governor in less than 3 hours." He checked his heavy gold watch, swore under his breath, and continued pacing. Maya hesitated. Her Aunt Renee always warned her to avoid strangers, especially ones who looked like they belonged on TV rather than in a rural black neighborhood 2 hours outside Boston. But something about the man's panic made her stop. And besides, she had tools. She adjusted the weight of her backpack, which always carried books and the small mechanic's kit her Uncle Leon insisted she keep with her. "Engines don't care how old you are," he always said. "They only care if you understand them." Taking a careful step forward, Maya called out, "Sir, do you need help with your car?" The man whirled around. His irritation shifted instantly into disbelief as he saw the tiny girl standing there, hands dusty from school, face bright with curiosity. "That's very kind, sweetheart," he said, patronizingly polite. "But this is a high-performance vehicle. I need a real mechanic." Maya only shrugged. "My uncle's a mechanic. He taught me everything he knows. I can at least look at it." Before he could argue, she slipped past him, dropped her backpack with a thud, and examined the engine with surprising confidence. "When did it break down?" she asked. He blinked. "About 40 minutes ago. The engine overheated, then died." "Did you smell anything sweet? Kinda like syrup?" He stared at her. "Yes. Actually, yes. How did you?" "Coolant leak." She pointed to a small puddle he hadn't noticed. "Your radiator hose is failing." He watched, fascinated, as she opened her little kit, found the problem, and patched the hose with special heat-resistant tape. "That'll hold long enough to get you to town," she said matter-of-factly. "But you need to refill it with water." As she pushed her braids back from her face, the man noticed a ring and emerald stone set in antique gold, tied to her small finger with thread so it wouldn't fall off. His world stopped. That ring, that rare green stone, that crescent-shaped imperfection inside the gem. 12 years ago, he had given that exact ring to a little girl at an orphanage called Little Angels. A little girl named Maya. The man swallowed hard. "That ring. It's very unusual." Maya looked at it. "It was my mom's, my adoptive mom, Diana. She died last year." His throat tightened. What did she tell you about it? He asked. That it belonged to someone special, Maya said softly. And that one day I'd understand. He didn't trust himself to speak. Instead, he offered her a ride home as thanks. After a moment, she nodded. During the short drive, he asked questions carefully, almost nervously. Her life, her school, her family, where she lived after her adoptive mother died. Since I was 3, I've lived here with my aunt and uncle, she said. Before that, I don't remember much. I know I was adopted from an orphanage called Little Angels. He nearly swerved off the road. Little Angels, he whispered. Are you sure? Yes. Why? The man didn't answer. When they reached her house, Maya thanked him. Before she stepped out, he handed her a business card. If you ever need anything, he said quietly, anything at all, you call me. She tucked the card into her backpack. He watched her run toward the house, the emerald ring glinting. The moment she disappeared inside, he pulled out his phone. I need you to reopen the Little Angels case, he told his private investigator. Now, he didn't tell him the truth that the little girl he had once promised to protect might be sitting in a humble house just yards away, and that his father Howard Whitaker had done everything possible to bury the orphanage's darkest secrets. Secrets Maya was about to uncover. 2 days passed, but Maya couldn't stop thinking about the man with the Shelby Mustang. She kept replaying the moment he saw her ring, how his face changed, how his voice softened, how he suddenly looked at her like she was someone he had lost a lifetime ago. His card stayed tucked deep inside her backpack, protected like something sacred. Meanwhile, miles away in the city, Mr. Daniel Whitaker sat in his towering office overlooking Boston. Papers were scattered across his desk, old adoption records, faded photographs, and a file stamped confidential closed per order of Howard Whitaker, his father's name. A name heavy enough to shut down entire investigations. The private investigator, Simon Ward, sighed heavily. Daniel, these records were sealed for a reason. Whatever happened at Little Angels wasn't an accident. There were discrepancies. Illegal ones. Daniel didn't flinch. Find everything. Every person. Every record. I don't care what it costs. Simon hesitated. Does this have anything to do with the girl you mentioned? Daniel's jaw tightened. Just find the truth. Back at home, life moved quietly for Maya, though her aunt and uncle sensed she was unusually distracted. Uncle Leon teased her about having a crush on that fancy car, and she laughed it off. But inside she felt something brimming, something she couldn't name. That evening, Aunt Renee noticed Maya rubbing the emerald stone on her finger. You okay, baby? She asked gently. Yeah, I'm just thinking. Renee sat beside her. About your mom. Maya nodded. She told me this ring came from someone who loved me before her. Someone who wanted me safe. Renee exhaled slowly. Your adoptive mother was a good woman. She told us she fought hard to bring you home from that orphanage. She did mention someone visited me before. Maya looked up. Do you know who? Renee paused a little too long. Sweetheart, some things your mother intended to explain herself. I don't want to confuse you, but her hesitation told Maya enough. There was someone important. Someone Renee didn't want to talk about. That night, while everyone slept, Maya sat on her bed and stared at the card Daniel had given her. Daniel Whitaker, founder and CEO Whitaker Global Investments. She traced the name with her finger. She didn't know why, but she felt he held answers. The next morning, Maya made her decision. She called him. When Daniel picked up, his breath caught as if he'd been holding it for 2 days. Maya, are you all right? Can we meet? She asked quietly. Of course. I'll come to you. No, she said, surprising even herself. I want to meet at the orphanage. Silence. Then a soft exhale. I'll be there in an hour. Little Angel's orphanage had been shut down for 10 years, but the building still stood decaying, forgotten, and wrapped in thick vines. The paint peeled in long strips, the windows were boarded, and the faded sign swung crookedly in the wind. Maya swallowed hard as she approached. This place was her beginning. And yet she remembered nothing of it. Daniel arrived moments later, stepping out of a black SUV, looking strangely vulnerable in such a broken place. You sure you want to go inside? He asked. Maya nodded. I think I need to. Together, they pushed open the heavy door. Dust swirled in the air. Broken toys lay on the floor. Cribs sat rusting along the walls. The air carried the weight of children's forgotten cries. Daniel moved slowly, touching the walls like he was touching old wounds. Maya, I need to tell you something, he began, voice trembling. But before he could speak, a thin elderly woman stepped from the shadows. I thought I heard voices, she rasped. Daniel stiffened. Miss Caldwell. The former orphanage caretaker blinked at him, then at Maya, her eyes widening in recognition. Oh my. I never thought I'd see you here again. Again? Maya asked, heart pounding. You know me? Miss Caldwell approached, her frail fingers brushing Maya's cheek. How could I forget the quiet little girl who cried every night until he showed up? She looked at Daniel. He visited you every week. The room spun. Maya turned to Daniel. You visited me. Daniel swallowed. Yes. Why? Her voice cracked. Why did you leave me? He looked shattered, like a man fighting 10 years of regret. Because I wanted to adopt you, he whispered. I filed every paper. I made every call. I tried everything. Maya's breath hitched. But my father, Howard Whitaker, blocked the adoption. He said a single man with my reputation couldn't raise a child. He had connections. Judges, officials, people who owed him favors. He wiped his eyes. He forced the orphanage to give you to another family. And they told me you had already been placed. Maya's knees weakened. She felt the world crumbling. So, you just stopped coming? No. His voice broke. I kept fighting for you. I went back every month for a year. Until the orphanage was shut down for good. They told me you were gone. Double quotes. Miss Caldwell sighed. Howard Whitaker made sure no one found her. Maya stared down at her ring. So this ring was from you? Daniel nodded. Your mother asked me to give it to you. She said you deserved to know someday that you were loved before and after her. Tears spilled down Maya's cheeks. Daniel gently crouched to her level. I never abandoned you. I never stopped wanting you. I never stopped looking. For the first time, Maya didn't feel like a puzzle missing pieces. She felt found. She stepped forward and wrapped her arms around him. Daniel froze, then embraced her with a lifetime of emotion. She always waited for you. Even when she didn't have the words, Daniel placed a careful hand on Maya's shoulder. I'm not leaving again, he whispered. And this time, Maya believed him. The drive back from the orphanage was quiet but not uncomfortable. The kind of quiet where two people breathe for the first time. Maya watched the world pass by through the window, her mind swirling with everything she had learned. Beside her, Daniel drove slowly, as though afraid that rushing would make the moment feel less real. They stopped at a small park near the river. It was sunset, warm, golden, gentle. Children were playing, couples were walking, and for a moment, the world looked like a place where broken things could finally fit together. Maya sat on a bench, clutching the ring her mother left her. Why didn't you tell me sooner? She asked softly. Daniel sat beside her, eyes glistening. Because I didn't want to force myself into your life. I didn't want to show up and confuse you. I wanted to wait until I understood everything, until I was sure you were safe. And until I was someone you wouldn't be ashamed to meet. She looked at him with wide, honest eyes. I was never ashamed. I just didn't know. He laughed quietly. You talk exactly like you did when you were little. Maya blushed. Really? You used to hide behind the crib bars and stare at me like I was some giant. He smiled. You never cried when I held you. The nurses joked you were my kid. Maya felt her chest tighten in a way that wasn't pain, it was longing, finally finding a home. There was a pause before she whispered, Can I ask you something? Anything. Do you still want me? After all this time? Daniel turned fully toward her, voice steady and warm. I never stopped wanting you. I just stopped believing I deserved the chance. Maya lowered her head. Then, maybe we can try again. Not fast. Just you in my life. For real. Daniel's breath trembled. I would be honored. Maya. Daniel visited Aunt Renee and Uncle Leon. They invited him inside with warm, cautious smiles, offering sweet tea and cornbread like he'd been coming for years. Renee watched the way Maya kept glancing at him, the way Daniel checked on her with protective eyes, the way the two fit together like pages from the same story. Renee finally spoke. You remind me of her mother, she said gently. She always said Maya would grow into her truth someday. I think that day is here. Leon nodded. We just want what's good for her. Daniel's voice softened. So do I. Maya looked between all three adults, her past, her present, and maybe her future, and felt something she hadn't felt since her mother died. Belonging. Life didn't suddenly turn into a fairy tale, but it became something steady, warm, and hopeful. Daniel visited often. Maya helped him work on the Mustang he returned to fix completely. He told her stories about the orphanage days, about her mother, about the dreams he once had for a family. And slowly, gently, they built something real. One evening, as they finished polishing the hood of the car, Maya asked, Do you think my mom would be okay with this? With us Daniel smiled softly. Your mother chose love every time. She'd be proud you did too. Maya nodded and leaned against him, her head resting on his arm. The sunset hit the emerald ring, making it glow like it had been waiting for this moment. Daniel took a deep breath. Maya, I know we have a lot of time ahead of us, and I'm in no rush, but I want you to know that when you're ready, I'd like to be part of your life, officially. Maya looked up. Like what? He hesitated. Like family. Tears filled her eyes. I'd like that too. They stood there in the fading light to people who had lost so much, finally finding what belonged to them all along. Not by blood, but by choice, by love, by a promise that never died. Even when it was buried for years, the Mustang engine hummed, the sky turned purple, and Maya whispered the words she had been holding in her heart since the orphanage. Thank you for coming back. Daniel placed a hand on her shoulder. I never stopped trying. And I'm here now. For good. And for the first time, Maya felt her world settle, complete, whole. A lost connection had finally become a home. If Maya's story inspired you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more heart-touching stories, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an emotional journey like hers. Share this story with someone who believes in hope, second chances, and the power of love.